Hey, hello everybody. James Neighbors, founder of Overpasses for America here. On my way from Oklahoma to head down to Houston, Texas, or just north of Houston, to the Sam Houston Monument, where Antifa and Black Lives Matter will be there to demand the destruction and removal of the Sam Houston Monument. Obviously, that's not going to stand. It's not going to happen either. But we're planning on going down there. We're going down there, and got two people here with me, and they're going down there with me too. And we've got to stop these people. Every one of us have to stand up against Antifa. You've got to stand up against Black Lives Matter. All of these people that want to take these statues down. All of these people that want to erase our history, good and bad. You got to understand they have an agenda behind doing that. If you destroy the history of a country, if you destroy the history, you destroy that country, because you no longer have an identity. And that's what their goal is. Don't mistake it. Don't mistake their rhetoric for truth. Because their true agenda, Antifa and Black Lives Matter, in taking these statues down, is not to make a wrong right. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with destroying the American identity, destroying our history, and in the end, when you destroy our history, you destroy the people that history made up, us. You destroy America. You destroy this country. And when you destroy America, then they can recreate it in their own image. They are trying to destroy our history so they can recreate this nation in their image. Now tell me, you've seen these people. You've seen how Black Lives Matter behaves. The only time they get out and do anything is for a wrong cause. I mean, let's face it, Michael Brown was a thug. Michael Brown got shot because Michael Brown deserved to get shot. If it had been me or you or anybody else driving down that road and we got attacked like that and we had a gun and we shot him, guess what? We're not going to jail because it was justified self-defense. But the only people that get out and riot over are who? Thugs. And Antifa. Start watching real close. Pay attention to what they are wearing. More and more, they are coming out of the closet, as you want to call, however you want to call it, and they're showing their true colors. More and more of them are wearing hammer and sickle gear, whether it be their mask or a shirt or flying a flag. And we're not talking just any old commie or any old communist, not just any old kind, but the Soviet Union. The same country that if you disagreed with the government, you got to go to a gulag and die. And why did they start? Because Trump won. And so we're talking about a group of people that admire the Soviet Union, are full-blown communists. We're not just, let's not pull any punches. These people are old school believers in Soviet-style communism. Mm-hmm. And in May of 2015, Hillary Clinton, in talking to some of her, and you go look it up, in one of her talks to some of her supporters, said that a lot of adult Americans need to go to fun camps run by her supporters. That's called putting patriotic Americans in a gulag, in a death camp, in a prison camp that opposed her agenda. Well, she lost. And now, the very same people that would have been running those camps are out rioting because they don't get to enact the tyranny that they had hoped they would. And so you need to keep that in mind. That's what these people are about. These Antifa thugs would have been just like an Auschwitz guard. They would have been just like an Auschwitz guard or a guard at a gulag. they would have been keeping patriots locked up because they opposed Hillary. All these riots that are happening right now, all of their little protests, all of their little things where they're tearing statues down, had Hillary won, they wouldn't have been stopped. These people would be her chosen useless idiots, and they would be allowed to do what they did, or are doing. They would be allowed to tear these statues down, and the Berkeley would have been a lynch mob, and none of them would have been prosecuted because Hillary Clinton wanted that type of life for America. All you have to do is look at her policies. Everybody, whether you like Trump or not, he's just a man, he's not perfect. But we are not becoming the Soviet Union underneath him, and the tyrant would have been Hillary Clinton. So no matter what you think of Trump, you better thank your lucky stars and thank God that Trump won, because Hillary Clinton is pure evil, and she would have had people thrown in camps. And now we're going down to confront her useful idiots who are being organized right now. And this is all information out there you can go find. Valerie Jarrett, who has worked with Obama, she actually is the one that introduced Michelle Obama to Barack Obama, has worked with them from the very beginning. She is working out of his mansion to organize Antifa and Black Lives Matter and all of these others, all of these protests. This is not a random occurrence. These are not just a bunch of weirdos that got together on Facebook to decide to go, hey, let's go tell them they have to tear down that monument. No, this is all organized and coordinated and planned from, well, our former president. He is the one that's behind this, and Valerie Jarrett is coordinating this all from his mansion as we speak. And so what we are doing by going down to Houston to confront these Antifa communists at this monument is confronting the minions of Barack Hussein Obama, who cannot, they can't accept the fact that they aren't in power. But we're not going to sit down, we're not going to take it lying down. We're not going to take what they're doing to this country lying down, and a whole lot more people need to stand up and confront these people. A whole lot more people need to stand up and confront these people, because until, and take this however you want, but until these Antifa people are terrified to come out of their parents' basements and hold their riots, until they are terrified, they will not stop. They will not stop. Real Americans need to stand up for this country. We've got to confront them, and we've got to make sure they understand very clearly that we will not allow their ideology to destroy this nation. And if you don't believe, well, I mean, I don't know how you can't believe it. Honestly, I don't know how anybody cannot believe that we have full-blown communists in this country when they are wearing their little masks, that are hammer and sickle from the Soviet Union, when they're waving a Soviet flag at their riots, when they're wearing shirts in Soviet red with a hammer and sickle on it. What else do you call them? I mean, if you're gonna, they aren't putting on an act. They may be ignorant of what happened to the Soviet Union, but I honestly don't believe they are. I believe that's what they want here. They are literally Lenin's useful idiots. They are the useful idiots that were used to overthrow the government in Russia and turn it into the Soviet Union. And they're trying to do the same thing here. And we as Americans have a duty. We have an obligation as citizens, that if you've ever said the Pledge of Allegiance, you're obligated to stand up against these people. Everybody is obligated to stand up to these people, because they are traitors. They're enemies of America. I mean, and I'm not talking kind of, sort of, misunderstood, and excuse my scratching, but the mosquitoes are out. I'm not talking about kind of misunderstood people. I'm talking people that are enemies of freedom, people that are enemies of the United States, people that are your enemies. They are enemies of everything you have come to know that a free nation stands for. They are the enemy, and that's all there is to it. And until we start treating them as the enemy, the true enemy that they are, we cannot negotiate with them. We cannot try to meet them in the middle. We cannot give 1 inch to their demands. None. We cannot give anything to them. We have a lot of ground to take back in this country to get this leftist ideology out of here. Out of here, because it is patently un-American. It is completely un-American. And they are the enemy. And if you don't know this now, you need to know it. You need to just come to terms with it. You need to come to terms with the fact that we have enemies. There's an oath that everybody in the military took. And there's that little part in there about domestic enemies. Enemies, foreign and domestic. It wasn't put in there just to sound frilly. It wasn't put in there just to sound, like you would do something, or that it might happen. It was put in there because the ones that came up with that oath knew that eventually, at some point, there would be domestic enemies. And we've really had them since the beginning. Anybody remember the name Benedict Arnold? He was a domestic enemy. It's happened all throughout our history. The difference is we used to do something about it. We used to do something about it. And it's time to do something about these domestic enemies. And so that's what we're doing. We're going down to stand up for American history, for Texas history. And honestly, I don't think these Antifa people have any idea what kind of mess they've gotten themselves into, because they're not just messing with Americans. They aren't just messing with Americans. And if you're not from Texas, and you haven't ever been to Texas, God bless Texas. I mean, I live in Oklahoma, but God bless Texas, because they are a special kind of American, because they love the Republic of Texas, and they love the Republic of the United States of America. When people come down to Texas talking trash about Texas in the United States, they're going to get a double dose of hurt if they get out of line. So I respect Texas. If I was going to live anywhere else, if I could deal with the heat, I'd be living in Texas already. But these people don't have any idea what they're doing when they're coming down to the Lone Star State. Because it's the only state in the country. It is literally the only state in the country right now, as we speak, that could stand on its own. Seriously. It's the only state in the United States that could be its own independent country. The rest of us are all dependent on the other 49, and it's just a fact. And so, and the people of Texas, the people that live in Texas, they know that. They know they could be their own nation, and a lot of them would like to be their own nation again. And when you get these people bussed in by George Soros, organized by Valerie Jarrett, and they come down to the Lone Star State, the Republic of Texas, and they're talking about destroying the history of that state, they're going into a world of hurt that I don't think they understand. I mean, let's face it, a California snowflake, doesn't stand a chance against a citizen of Texas. They just don't stand a chance. And so I'm going to close this out now because these mosquitoes are driving me up the wall. But I'm going to have a good time tomorrow. We'll be going live again. It starts at 10. So just kind of keep an eye on things. Watch your notifications from the page. We'll be going live again from the rally. And it's a
post. Join your safety.
And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And they do this in other states too. Real quick on my last closing note. If you look at the top post on the page, the pinned post on the page, we're trying to get basically defend America. That's what Overpasses does. We defend American values. We stand against the things wrong in this country. And Antifa is not just going to be in Texas. They're going to be all over the place. And we all need to stand up. So find that pinned post at the top of the page and join your Overpasses state group, because we need people that have the spine and the love for this country, that are willing to get out and do something a little bit more, that are willing to get out and confront these enemies of America, because we're just not going to have it anymore. We're just not going to have it anymore. These people need to understand that real Americans are going to stand up to these traitors, and we're not going to let them destroy this country, and we're going to stand up to them till our dying breath, and they'd better be prepared for that, because I will never surrender to communists in this country. I will never surrender. They will literally have to take my life, because until my last breath, I will fight to keep this nation free with everything I have from the evils of socialism and communism. And that's what I'm here to do. I drove all the way from Oklahoma, and we're almost to Houston. We're still a couple hours out, and we all need to dig a little deeper. We all need to dig a little deeper and stand a little stronger. Get out there in the public and stand against these enemies of our nation, because that's what they are. At any rate, I'm out. I will see you again tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Maybe the Houston police will stand down like they did in Berkeley, and well, I feel sorry for the Antifa snowflakes if that happens, because they won't be... What happened in California was a lot of fun once the police stood down, but what these folks in Texas are going to do to them if the police stand down is going to be downright comical for us, not for them. At any rate, here's to hoping it all does go peacefully and nobody gets hurt, but Lord help them if the police stand down, because they're going to need some help. But again, let's hope it goes peacefully and nobody gets hurt. Hopefully these people will start to understand, these Antifa people will start to understand that real Americans aren't going to tolerate their nonsense, and we're going to start standing up against them everywhere they show up. So if you're interested in doing that, if you're interested in start standing up against these socialist, communist traitors to America, join Overpasses. We could use you, and America could use you. Anyway, that is all for now, and we will see you at the Sam Houston Monument tomorrow. Take care, God bless you, and God bless America.